your Seattle Mariners. Last year, they finished 90-72 and went out with a bang. They missed the playoffs, but the last series in Seattle, second to last game, was amazing. The crowd was amazing. Seattle was amped up, and it was a fun place to watch baseball. They became kind of MLB's darling towards the end. Did miss the playoffs, but everyone still enjoyed what they saw a lot, and they got better and made a little bit of a shocking trade, Jake. And what other moves did they make, Jake?
They lost. How about a Mariner all-timer? Kyle Seager, retired. He's out on the farm in North Carolina just drinking it in. Jimmy's guy, Kikuchi, he's now a J. BBD's guy, James Paxton, is a Red Sox. Tyler Anderson, the trade deadline ad, he's in L.A. Joe Smith, Justin John, Sean Doolittle, Jake Fraley. They went out, but the good news is they went out for some good news for Mariners fans. Jesse Winker is in town, one of the best all-around hitters in baseball. And how's your Cy Young, Robbie Ray? They make the bet after Robbie Ray's big year. He will lead that staff, and they hope take him over the top. That Adam Frazier trade, can't get enough of it. Eugenio Suarez, man, is he going to be an asterisk in that trade, or is he going to be a big part of that trade? I did not know Sergio Romo's tricking him up there this year. That kind of changes a lot of my takes. And then how's your journeyman outfielder, Suzbot, Trev's guy, and Billy Hamilton on some minor league deals? So they added some high-end stuff, man. And that rotation, there's some young guys, some old guys, some sex guys.
Some what guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the rotation's here. They added the big arm, Robbie Ray. Tight pants, brought him up into Seattle. Here we go. Lefty. Marco Gonzalez behind him, another lefty. And then we got some of the dudes. Chris Flexen, really nice year last year. Logan Gilbert, Matt Brash, the bullpen. This is another bullpen that, like, Mariners fans, if you don't say every single day, like, oh, this bullpen is incredible, they get pissed at you. They want you to know how good their bullpen is. Paul Sewald, Drew Steckenrider, Diego Castillo, Ken Giles, Sergio Romo, like you mentioned. These guys are going to get it done for them. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens up there. James, tell me about that lineup, because I think the lineup has turned into something.
Well, they got Adam Frazier. I forgot that happened, but he'll be playing second base. Ty France at first. Jesse Winker. Left field, Mitch Haniger. Right field, Eugenio Suarez. Playing third base, J.P. Crawford at short. Abraham Toro in a trade that was really fun last year. Jared Kelenic, center field. Tom Murphy, catching. 2 Murphy catchers in this division. How about that? Where do you want to start?
What do you got?
I hope they build upon next year. The Winker trade was awesome. The Robbie Ray signing is awesome. Marco Gonzalez last year, pretty solid. They
needed bats. They needed bats, and they addressed that situation.
Yeah.
We talked about, the 1-run games they won, but the offense just was not there for them last year. So they made some big-time additions to bolster that. And honestly, Winker is one of those guys that you talk about building around. Like, I don't know if they have him for a couple more years. You may not build around him, but you're going to construct a lineup around him. He's that kind of hitter. So you put him in there with some of the younger guys that they have, and this has a chance to be like a very, very exciting team on like pretty much all facets of the ball. Again, I'm still looking at the starting pitching. Am I crazy?
I don't know.
Like, do I expect too much for teams in starting pitching? Because every team I look at, seems to be like
hard to have, like,
especially the American League. I mean, that was eye-opening for me last year in the playoffs. Some of those NL rotations, like at one point we were down to like 6 teams and 5 of the best rotations were in the NL. That math doesn't work out if you think about it. But They add Robbie Ray, which if he can repeat last year, my goodness, if he can even come close of last year, I mean, that's a dude at the top of the rotation that any day could give you 7 innings, 1 earned run, and a bunch of punchies. There's not too many guys like that around baseball. And Trev, I think you might have stumbled into something there. Watch out. How about a little sneaky Jesse Winker extension? You know what? Like they've got young guys. They've got young guys on the way. Julio Rodriguez. When those guys come up and have to be paid, lock Winker up for maybe 4 years, something like that. Pay that man. Haven't said this for a lot of teams. I do think a hot start, not a bad start, is very important for the Mariners. You're coming off a year where you had a lot of juice. You kind of became baseball's darling in September there. Keep the juice going. And it's going to be a really interesting balance to see, Julio is supposed to be a different type of prospect. He's supposed to be one of the special ones. He's like a Luis Robert type. Like he's supposed to be legit. And Kelnick came up and he stunk and then he started to figure it out. So like, where do those guys land? Does the Toro trade end up looking good because they broke their own team's heart for 24 hours? And I love, my last name before I pass it, Logan Gilbert in that rotation. That's a young man I'm buying stock in.
Last year, this team beat up on not the Astros, but their other divisional teams. They went 13-6 against the Rangers. They went 15-4 against the A's, 11-8 against the Angels. It's like a 680 winning percentage. Now, we're saying the Rangers and the Angels got better. Is that going to make a difference? Is that going to make it hard for them to win 90 games again? Maybe they pick up even more wins against the Oakland, but they handled them pretty well last year. They also had negative run differential last year, so there are a lot of probably non-believers in just like the sustainability of what they did, but the Mariners got better as well. But I don't know. Is there any doubt? Is there any is it a guarantee that this team does better than last year? Because last year, according to some of the analytics and stuff, they achieved.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was looking at the bullpen. I'm like, who are we missing here? Because I always hear about the bullpen, and it's Sadler, who was going to miss the entire season. You know what he did last year? Like a .67, was an absolute. He was their guy. He's done for the season, so that's why he wasn't listed. That's why I forgot to read his name. That's huge for them in a negative aspect. So I mean,
Trev, do you know what their? I forget. Are you a fan of the Pythagorean win-loss, or are you not?
We've looked at it. Kind of at the end, kind of lines up. Same thing with run differential. It usually does. There'll be a few teams here and there that kind of buck that, but I think it usually is around what happens.
Yes. So last year's team was a huge outlier. The Pythagorean win-loss says they should have won 76 games. It's a 90-win team.
Yeah.
So
lights out bullpen, 1-run games. That's basically it.
They were really good in extra innings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's my question is I wish I would have read some of the nerdy analytical teams they're going to regress because they overachieved, but I don't know. And they did get better.
It's a spin cycle. This team got better. They added Robbie Ray. They added Jesse Winker. This team got better. And some of their young guys should be a year older, whether you're talking the Ty Francis, whether you're talking J.P. Crawford, our guy, Toro. This team from last year had some regression in them, but they also got better. So I think you could spin yourself in circles. I love Diego Castillo. Last year he came over and he was okay for them. I think that guy's got all the tricks in his bag. How about 100 Mile Giles? He's missed a season or two. He's in that Mariners bullpen. It can all click and look really good for the Mariners, who also have some depth options, man. I mean, whether we're talking, Kyle Lewis, if he comes back, Evan White, our guy Taylor Trammell, awesome dude. Like world-class dude. I don't know. I don't know.
I know. They have a 14 luck factor last year. The next highest is 6. Forgot about that. I forgot that they were playing like out of their shoes a little bit, or maybe they weren't. Maybe all the numbers are bullshit. Like, I honestly don't know if I believe in this stuff at all. So I'm kind of just throwing it out there. If you're a heavy believer in it, give me your argument in the comments. If you're not a believer at all, give me your argument in the comments, because I need more info on like what that means. But they did get better, and Oakland got worse. But the other teams got a little better.
This is a tough one. I'm looking at the over-under right now. It's 83.5.
So I'm the Angels guy. Sorry, Mariners fans. We're not respecting Robbie Ray like the Cy Young winner. Like, if we're being honest. Because otherwise, wouldn't we be like jumping and screaming that they just added the Cy Young winner and the guy?
Yeah, but it's not like they added like Verlander, Cole, or DeGrom,
Right.
who has proven that they're going to do it year in, year out. Like, if Robbie Ray goes back to being a 4 guy next year, or a 3-6,
It's the walk. It's the walks with him. Like, that's the fun stat that we have here too, how big of a jump he made from 2020 to 2021 in his walk rate. If he's that guy again, where he is not walking guys and still striking people out at that elite clip that he does, because guess what? Right now, he's got a gold on his baseball reference page for strikeouts per 9. A gold. That means best all time.
all time.
So the guy can do it. Keep the guys off the base with the free passes. Then he'll be fine. I don't think we're worried about Robbie Ray. I'm respecting him as a Cy Young winner.
Okay.
The other guys, the loss of Sadler, I mean, it's a big hit. I wonder what the over-under went from that loss of not having him in the bullpen. I mean, had to affect it a little bit because of how good he was last year.
You like flexing?
I'm having a hard time thinking about the over right now. That's kind of
Because I like flexing a lot. He's got 2 blips last year that if you butter knife those, like the 2 Jake stat, take your 2 worst outings and just get rid of them. I think his ERA, which is at 3.6 over 31 starts, I think comes down a decent amount. I mean, he was
really good.
He's got a 1.28 earned, so that's probably a little bit of an ERA killer. And then he's got a 4.7 earned. So you do Jake stat, you take rid of those 2. I like flexing a lot.
And I guess that's where I'm getting caught up. I think the lineup is what it is. Like, I think Winker's good. I think Mitch Haniger's Mitch Haniger. And then it's just coin flip. Like, out of Suarez, J.P. Crawford, Kelenic, even if you add Julio Rodriguez, a couple of those guys are going to click that make this a solid lineup. Like, not a scared lineup, but a solid lineup. I guess the rotation, like, if you took away some of the names and you saw this rotation, you'd be like, this is a really good, this is a top 10 rotation in baseball. I think when you see, Chris Flexen, I would have guessed he was in his 30s. He's 27. Logan Gilbert, again, I don't think too many people know him. He gives me like mini Glasnow vibes. Like, we could be looking at that top 4 at the end of the year. Like, this is a top 6 rotation in baseball. I think we could also be looking at them as very middle of the pack. And I think that's where this whole conversation hinges.
I hope they have the fun factor again. Give us another year.
Me too. Rodriguez too, like, come up and be, what if he's an Acuna type or a Lubob or, a Soto? Like, has the pedigree. If he comes up and is a guy like that, or 80% of a guy like that changes things completely in the lineup as well. I agree. This is I think Mariners fans probably feel that way too. Like, the potential is definitely there. Are they a little worried about some of the underlying stats from last year? Yes. If you're crazy if you don't look at that stuff. It is a new year, a new team. I'm going over 83.5. I was just about to say under. I think, Jakey boy, you brought me back with a little bit of love for the staff there. They have a ton of room to make an ad if they need to. I think they have $100 million to play with before they even come close to that tax threshold. So I'm taking the over, and they are going to not make the playoffs.
83.5 feels low. I will take the over. I think even if they do regress like we've talked about, and even if like Robbie Ray is 80% of last year's Robbie Ray, this team should still be 85, 86 in that range. So yeah, I'll take the over. Thanks, DraftKings.
So you guys both taking the over?
I might bet it right now.
You're taking the over too, Trev?
I'm taking the over, but no playoffs.
We've agreed too much. I'll take the under. I don't, yeah.
Trust your heart.
East Coast bias.
Sure.
I think when we get to the Rays, Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays, we're going to see better teams.
Can there be 4 teams in a division?
Then
go to the playoffs? I guess there can be, right?
Well, they got to beat up on each other. But like you said, Trev, if the White Sox went to the AL East, Jake and I both said we'd pencil them in to win it. Like, we really like the White Sox. So it's really not that much East Coast bias. I said the Astros, we're getting to them next. I'll see where these 4 teams, I have them finishing 5th in the AL East. All 4 of them.
Mariners.
I could see the Mariners. I mean, look, for Angels and Mariners, who we just talked about, like, if things go right, they could be a pretty good team. But like, as we're sitting here making projections today, yeah, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Like,
I guess here's my thing. I'm Jakey Jokes, right? I'm silly.
He's always joking.
He's always joking.
Always.
I don't really like him. Vegas, who done joke?
They don't joke at all.
Same over-under as my Halos for the Seattle Mariners, who went out and got Robbie Ray and Jesse Winker. That kind of tells the story.
That they're both not great teams?
That they both have a chance to be good, but they both have a chance to not be good.
Yeah, they're both.
You know?
They're both. I think they're both above 500. I know I took the under. Like, I think they're both going to be around that at the end of the year. Like, let's get over 500. I don't know. I want both teams to be good. I would love. I love both teams to be playing against each other down the stretch, and the games matter for that second wild card.
And I think that's going to happen.
That'd be awesome.
I think we're going to have 3 teams in the West.
But put them in Seattle. I don't want that series to happen in Anaheim.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Let's go to that last team. I'll look at the schedule to see if it can be exciting out West.
The last team that we did, thank you for tuning in, that was the Seattle Mariners.